My name is Ronnie Cruz, and this is Path of the Network Marketer.
All right, welcome back to the show. Thanks for tuning in. I have a quick question for you. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Do you feel, okay, so actually, now that I think about it, it's more than one question. Excuse me. But then the next question is, do you feel like you're hitting your head against the wall and that you're spinning your wheels but getting nowhere? Do you feel like you're at your wit's end with everything that you're taking on right now and everything that you're doing? If the answer is yes to any of these questions, then you may be actually closer to burnout than you think. Now, I wanted to have this conversation today because, well, it's been in a lot of talks lately in the entrepreneurial world and in the marketing world. And it's one that we often visit as entrepreneurs, right? It's a conversation that we have pretty regularly because, honestly, it's a real thing, right? As entrepreneurs, we are very driven individuals, right? Where we have a natural inclination to take on a lot of responsibilities and wear a lot of hats and do a lot of that heavy legwork and lifting ourselves. And it's not that, we don't trust anybody else to help us or we don't trust anybody else to do the work or think that they're incapable. It's just that, again, we're just naturally inclined to be this way. It's that drive. It's that desire to create the outcomes that we want to create. Mind you, if we really have to be careful and mindful that that drive doesn't actually drive us into the ground, and that we maintain a balance of care and attention to ourselves and our own well-being as we do to making the entrepreneurial venture, making that vision a reality, creating the outcome that we want to create. So I wanted to have this conversation with you today and share with you some of the things that I'm doing, especially now that it's the holidays, right? This is a time I think that it's really important to slow down and reflect. It's a symbolic renewal in terms of the new year coming around. So, look back at what your year has been this year, 2022, and then it's a good place, a platform, a jumping off point to look at what you want to do in the next 12 months in 2023. But the important thing is really just pumping the brakes a little bit and understanding that your business isn't going to come tumbling down if you take a couple of days off for the holiday, right? Take 2 or 3 days off this weekend. I think this episode is actually going to be released on a Saturday. So that's the 24th. It's Christmas Eve for those of you that celebrate Christmas. So yeah, it's okay to do that. It's okay to do that because again, we wanna be able to always remember and stay attached to why we're doing the thing in the first place, right? Why we're building our businesses in the first place. Again, we get so honed in and fixated on the outcomes that we want to create with our business that we sometimes lose sight of the purpose and intention of why we're creating it, right? Namely, whatever that might be for you, but for a lot of people, it's spending more time with family, especially, if you have kids. This is that time of year where you need to really make time. So here's a couple of things that I do personally in my life that has allowed me to make sure that I stay balanced. And I throw that word around loosely because balance isn't necessarily a thing in terms of how people are talking about, or at least how some sectors of the population talk about balance. I mean more that, so that you have, that the scales aren't tipped too far to one side that you push yourself into burnout. Again, it's also actually a really important conversation right now in light of the recent passing of Stephen Twitch Boss, right? And the circumstances around his death. So I want to make sure you're taking care of yourself, right? And so here are some things that for me have been really helpful to make sure that my scales, the pendulum doesn't tip too far to one side. Number one, sleep. Right? I know it seems like a no-brainer, but there's so many studies that have been published over the last couple of decades that really highlight the importance of sleep. And I get it, right? Like in the hustle culture, especially here in the U.S., since the 80s, it was all about just grind, hustle, and we'll sleep when we're dead. Yeah, well, if you don't sleep, you're gonna die. right? Your body needs to reset. Your body needs to take a break. And so I would say at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep is what's going to really maximize your longevity. It's going to maximize your energy and your output, because if not, well, you're not giving your body enough time to recover, right? And if that means shutting off your devices, or at least distancing yourself from your devices during those times of days that your body needs to reset, whatever that might be. I know people's circadian rhythms are all different, but when it's time to sleep, it's time to sleep, right? Like, let go of your device, because here's the thing. Again, entrepreneurs, we're always thinking of the next thing. We're always thinking of, oh, what else do we need to do? And if you have your device next to you when it's time to go to bed and reset, you're always gonna be working, right? The next thing then is, don't always be working. I did say it's okay to take a break, but also understand, especially for those of you with family, especially for those of you with family with young kids, compartmentalize. Right? When your work is done for the day in your business, then let it be done for the day, so that you can then make sure that you're being present and in the moment with the people that you care about. And that's why, again, that's why we're building these things in the first place, right? Like, we're building a business not to get lost in the business and to forget about everything else. We don't want to get so fixated on growing and building this thing that we forget why we're growing and growing and building this thing in the first place. Again, for a lot of people, it's spending more time with the people that they care about. And for me, it's the same thing. I don't have a family necessarily, or I don't have kids, but I love, I really am all about experience and time that we have here on this earth, and to maximize that time doing the things with that I love to do with the people that I love to do those with, right? So compartmentalize. It's okay to shut off. As an entrepreneur, actually, I encourage you to shut off. Give yourself a specific time of day. Once your work is done, don't think about business and just be present with the people that you care about. The next thing is nutrition. Like, again, it's like sleep. It's kind of a no-brainer, but it's surprising how few people actually pay attention to it. And again, especially it's the holidays, it's easy to just go off the rails. But understand, if you're not giving your body nutritious fuel, then it's not going to operate and function at its maximum potential, at its best. You're gonna feel run down. You're gonna feel tired, and you won't be able to optimize your own output and creativity as you're working towards your goals. So make sure you're eating a balanced and nutritious diet. Right? For me, this makes a huge difference. And again, it's one of those things that studies have shown a direct correlation between what's going on with your gut versus what's going on with your mood, and vice versa, right? All of this mechanism of our physiology, it all works together. And if you're not feeding one thing the right balance of nutrition, it affects the other, right? If you're not giving your body and your digestive system good food and nutritious and a nutritious balanced diet, then your mind isn't going to operate properly. Your emotional and mental health is going to be out of whack, and vice versa. If you're not feeding your mind good and positive input, then your body is going to end up being out of whack. If you're not thinking good and healthy positive thoughts, then it's going to affect your body's output. It's going to affect how you carry yourself. It's going to affect your energy level. So it's all a balance, and you gotta really, really maintain that. And if you don't devote time to and energy and thought into maintaining that side of things, then the rest of it is going to be all out of whack, and you're going to be more likely to reach and cross into burnout. Right? So make sure you have these kind of things that are balanced out, and yeah. I don't know. I think, again, it's that time of year where it can be very, very reflective, and it's okay to be reflective, and it's okay to take time and pause. I know I'm very busy. I understand. I mean, I have a podcast to do every day. I have to make sure that I have content through the holiday season, so that I'm not recording while everybody else is opening up presents, right? Or everybody everybody stuffing their face at Christmas dinner and I'm sitting here recording content. No, you know what I mean? Like I'm definitely putting in a lot of work now so that, because I understand that I do want to take a break and that I not only want to, but I need to for my own well-being so that I don't get pushed, so that I don't push myself into that burnout, right? So take a break, take care of yourself. It's an important thing to do because, we can again lose sight of why we're doing this thing in the first place. And if you're not healthy, then you can't spend time and have amazing experiences with the people that you care about, with your loved ones, with your family, and ultimately, again, that's why most of us do this thing in the first place. So take a break, take a breath, and treat yourself good. So that's the message for today. Hopefully that makes sense. If you're listening to this on the holidays, have an amazing holiday season, whichever holiday that you celebrate. More to come from me tomorrow. So until then, be well, be safe. We'll see you in the next episode.